Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into the world of enzymes.
Yeah, we're using Dr. Ellen Cutler's book, Micro Miracles, as our guide. You've given us some great material here.
Right. The idea is to explore the healing power she talks about.
Exactly. We've got these book excerpts all about enzyme nutrition and health.
And our mission really is to pull out the key takeaways for you. Give you the important stuff about enzymes and health without it feeling like homework.
Get you the core insights quickly but thoroughly.
And Dr. Cutler is, well, she's clearly passionate, calls herself the Empress of Enzymes.
She really does, and she sees them as like the future of medicine, this revolutionary thing for the 21st century.
It's interesting, too, her personal story. She had her own health issues back in chiropractic school.
Oh, absolutely. The book mentions things like unexplained weight loss. She was getting sick all the time, mouth sores, just generally feeling undernourished.
So that's what really led her down this path to enzyme therapy.
Yeah, she was looking for solutions for herself and discovered this whole world.
Okay, so let's get down to it. What exactly are enzymes based on her work?
Fundamentally, they're catalysts. They make things happen in the body, speed up all those biochemical reactions, life's little spark plugs, you might say.
And she makes a distinction, right, between different types.
Yes, a key one. There are systemic enzymes. They work in your blood, tissues, organs, kind of everywhere. Then there are digestive enzymes, which are focused on breaking down food.
And she also mentions enzymes that are just naturally in the food we eat.
Right, food enzymes. So three main categories to think about.
So these systemic ones, they're doing the background work, keeping everything running.
That's a perfect way to put it. They're involved in, well, everything. Your heartbeat, muscles contracting, keeping your senses sharp.
Wow.
Yeah, and things like balancing cholesterol, hormone production, even immune function. Your white blood cells use enzymes to basically digest invaders.
Okay, that's systemic. What about the digestive side? We kind of know they break down food, but how does she explain it?
So the book breaks it down nicely. You've got specific enzymes for specific jobs in the small intestine. Amylase handles carbs.
Okay.
Protease tackles proteins. And lipase deals with fats. Pretty straightforward.
And she says digestion can start earlier if the food has enzymes.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. If your food is rich in its own enzymes, digestion can actually kick off right from the first bite in your mouth.
But cooking changes that, doesn't it? I feel like I've heard that before.
You definitely have. Heat from cooking or processing, it can wipe out those natural food enzymes.
So the burden shifts to our body.
Exactly. Our body has to pick up the slack and produce more of its own digestive enzymes.
Yeah.
And she also points out that a diet heavy on processed stuff, it meets with hormones, refined flour, sugary pastries, artificial sweeteners that can really drain our enzyme reserves too.
Right. So is supplementing a good idea then? What does she say about enzyme supplements?
She discusses them, particularly vegetarian ones. An interesting point is that these vegetarian enzymes can apparently survive the stomach acid and then reactivate later in the digestive tract. They seem to work across a wider pH range compared to, say, animal-derived enzymes.
Is there debate about whether we actually absorb these supplement enzymes?
Well, yeah, the absorption part, because they're large molecules, that's maybe more controversial or discussed in the scientific community. But Dr. Cutler is a strong advocate for taking high-quality, broad-spectrum digestive enzymes.
Even if you don't have obvious stomach problems.
Yes, that's her view. Because the digestive system is so central, it's your largest immune organ, it produces brain chemicals, it's a key detox route, maintains pH balance, houses good bacteria. So supporting it broadly makes sense to her.
Okay, now the book also talks about systemic enzyme therapy. How is that different from just taking enzymes with food?
Good question. Systemic therapy involves taking enzymes, usually between meals, with the goal of them being absorbed into your bloodstream intact.
So not just for digestion in the gut.
Right. The idea is they circulate and work throughout the body. Dr. Cutler cites studies suggesting they're safe and effective. She positions them as a natural alternative to NSAIDs, ibuprofen, that sort of thing.
For inflammation.
Primarily, yes, for countering inflammation and supporting healing. Especially relevant, she notes, because our natural enzyme production tends to dip as we get older.
So they get into the bloodstream and tackle inflammation directly, unlike NSAIDs, which maybe just mask the pain.
That's the mechanism she proposes. They help break down these things called circulating immune complexes, or CICs, which are like clumps of immune stuff that can fuel inflammation. They might also reduce swelling and help manage fibrin, which is involved in clotting.
Any examples?
She shares a really striking story about a physician, Linda, who is apparently quite disabled by severe swelling and pain. Enzyme therapy was reportedly key to her getting back to her life, even planning her wedding and resuming her career.
Wow, that's quite a turnaround. Okay, the book also gets specific about conditions. Let's talk food intolerances.
Right. Dr. Cutler divides them mainly into carbohydrate intolerances or protein-fat intolerances. Some people have both, of course.
Like lactose intolerance.
Exactly, that's a classic example. Not enough lactase enzyme. She also mentions invertase deficiency, which affects digesting sucrose, like table sugar, often linked to eating too much refined sugar.
And what about fats? How would you know if you have fat intolerance?
Symptoms she lists include things like bloating, gas, maybe cramping, diarrhea after fatty meals. The book actually has a questionnaire to help you pinpoint potential trigger foods.
And there was a case study there too.
Yes, Angie in Russia, described as having severe food sensitivities, and Dr. Cutler reports she saw improvement basically within a day of starting enzyme supplements. Really fast.
What about constipation or diarrhea? Are enzymes the main players there?
For constipation, Dr. Cutler says it's usually not directly an enzyme issue. It's more diet, hydration, exercise, maybe medications. But for diarrhea, she does see a potential link, especially to carbohydrate intolerance, difficulty digesting sugars properly. She mentions Alice, who had chronic issues that apparently resolved with a carb-digesting enzyme and diet changes.
And heartburn or low stomach acid. How do enzymes fit in?
Not a direct cause, she says, but taking a digestive enzyme formula can help indirectly. It reduces the demand on your stomach to produce hydrochloric acid. Same idea for hypochlorhydria, low stomach acid. The enzymes help maintain balance and lessen the load on HCl production.
IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, that's so common. Any help from enzymes there?
She suggests they can be tremendously effective. She talks about Susan, whose IBS symptoms, constipation, diarrhea sensitivities reportedly improved a lot with digestive enzymes.
So for food sensitivities generally, the idea is enzymes help you break down the problematic foods.
That seems to be the core principle. He gives an example of someone with a huge list of sensitive foods who could reintroduce many of them just by adding the right digestive enzymes.
Okay, let's shift gears to weight management. Is there an enzyme connection?
Dr. Cutler thinks so, yeah. She proposes that poor digestion is actually a primary reason for both weight gain and trouble losing weight.
How does that work?
Her thinking is, if you're not digesting properly, you're undernourished at a cellular level, even if you're eating enough calories. This undernourishment leads to cravings, so you overeat trying to satisfy that need.
So it's about nutrient absorption, not just calories.
Exactly. Better digestion means better nutrient uptake, which can reduce those cravings. She particularly highlights sugar sensitivity as common in weight issues.
And enzymes can help with sugar cravings.
She suggests enzyme supplements, combined with dietary changes like limiting carbs, can reduce sugar cravings and help the body switch to burning fat. She's pretty skeptical about carb blockers, though.
Is there a quick case study for weight?
Yep, she mentions Jenny, who apparently lost weight and had fewer cravings within like 48 hours of starting enzymes.
Interesting. What about detoxification? How do enzymes help us clear out toxins?
Well, the liver is the main detox organ, right? And it relies heavily on enzymes to process toxins. Dr. Cutler's point is that if your toxic load exceeds your liver's enzyme capacity, toxins build up.
And digestive enzymes help how?
By breaking down food properly before it gets further down the line. This reduces the burden of undigested gunk and metabolic waste that the liver and other detox organs have to handle. She also mentions liver-supportive herbs like beetroot, schizandra, milk thistle.
It's fascinating how internal health shows up externally. What about skin, hair, and nails?
Dr. Cutler connects them strongly to enzymes. Digestive, systemic, and food enzymes are all needed to nourish skin and connective tissue. Like, you need enzymes to convert beta-carotene into vitamin A for your skin.
Makes sense. What about things like acne?
She suggests a link between oily skin or acne and diets high in cook, enzyme-poor foods, sugars, and grains. These can mess with insulin levels. Low stomach acid can also be a factor, hindering protein digestion needed for skin repair.
And hair.
Similar story. Healthy hair needs good nutrition. Vitamins, minerals, protein, fats, and enzymes are crucial for digesting those nutrients, detoxifying, and supporting thyroid function, which also impacts hair. She mentions specific nutrient deficiencies potentially linked to hair loss, too.
So her approach involves enzymes, but also diet and maybe specific nutrients.
Yes, for acne, she might suggest a skin hair nail enzyme formula, maybe a liver detox formula, plus dietary changes, ensuring enough riboflavin, avoiding trigger foods. For hair, looking at B vitamins, iron, selenium, zinc, thyroid support if good.
Okay, let's talk fatigue. So many people feel tired all the time. Can enzymes help?
Dr. Cutler argues yes, significantly. She sees poor nutrition, specifically poor digestion and absorption, as a major cause of fatigue.
Because you're not getting the fuel you need from your food.
Precisely. If you can't break down and absorb nutrients properly, your energy levels will suffer. Enzyme therapy, in her view, helps restore that vital nutrient assimilation. And remember, enzymes themselves often need vitamin and mineral cofactors to work.
Any examples here?
She mentions Mary, a flight attendant who realized her fatigue was tied to digestion, and Leonard, who saw improvements not just in energy, but also irritability, anxiety, and sleep by using specific enzyme formulas.
What about other fatigue factors like adrenal issues or blood sugar?
She touches on those too.
Hmm.
Enzymes might help repair mitochondrial damage from free radicals, which impacts energy. There are adrenal-specific enzyme formulas, she mentions. For hypoglycemia or poor sugar metabolism, digestive enzymes can help produce amino acids needed for neurotransmitters. Thyroid imbalances are another factor, where enzyme dysfunction could play a role, and impaired liver detox can definitely cause fatigue.
It seems so interconnected. What about mood? Can enzymes influence how we feel emotionally?
That's another connection Dr. Cutler explores. Mood swings could be linked to unstable blood sugar or neurotransmitter issues. She suggests protein-digesting enzymes for amino acid building blocks, and essential fatty acids might help.
And depression.
Often improves, she finds, when you address underlying issues like nutrient deficiencies, especially common in older adults whose enzyme production might be lower, or food sensitivities. Again, essential fatty acids like EPDHA are often recommended. She gives an example of Ted, whose depression might have been linked to liver issues and trouble digesting proteins and fats.
Stress is a big one. How do enzymes fit with managing stress?
The idea is that by supporting digestion and nutrient uptake, enzyme therapy can make you more resilient to the physical and emotional effects of stress. Your body is better nourished and better equipped to cope. She often recommends antioxidant support, maybe with vitamin C, and possibly an adrenal enzyme formula during stressful times.
What about ADHD? That's a complex condition.
It is. Dr. Cutler suggests potential links to food sensitivities, poor digestion, and maybe essential fatty acid deficiencies. So she proposes that protein-fat digestive enzymes and EFA supplements might be beneficial. She recounts the story of Justin, a child whose aggressive and hyperactive behavior potentially linked to food issues seemed to improve with diet changes and enzymes.
Okay, the immune system. How do enzymes support our defenses?
Dr. Cutler sees a strong link. Poor digestion and food sensitivities can weaken immunity. Undigested food particles getting into the bloodstream trigger an immune response, potentially leading to leaky gut.
So enzymes help by breaking down food better, reducing that immune burden.
Exactly. They minimize the stuff the immune system has to react to. She also points out how sugar harms immunity, reducing white blood cell activity, depleting nutrients like zinc. Toxins add to the load too, and stress definitely impacts gut health and immunity.
Lots of examples in this section too.
Yes, Sharon with multiple sensitivities improving. Lori, whose bloating, gas, and acne got better with a protein-fat enzyme. Joseph, whose asthma and bronchitis improved with enzymes and diet changes. It really emphasizes the gut-immune connection.
Moving to heart disease, what's the potential role of enzymes?
Supporting digestion, she suggests, might help prevent angina flare-ups, possibly using the full-spectrum enzyme. She mentions lipase deficiency potentially contributing to high cholesterol. For high homocysteine, B vitamins and digestive enzymes are important.
And inflammation, that's linked to heart health too, right?
Definitely. Those circulating immune complexes, CICs, formed partly due to poor digestion, can contribute to inflammation implicated in heart disease. Enzymes can help break those down. For hypertension, she suggests a cardiovascular enzyme formula plus diet changes, less sodium, more potassium, nuts, flavonoids.
Any specific cardiovascular enzyme formulas mentioned?
Yes, she lists ingredients often found in them, like protease, amylase, lipase, bromelain, papain, nattokinase, CoQ10. She also stresses lifestyle factors like exercise and stress management, of course.
Okay, and finally, diabetes. How do enzymes play into blood sugar control?
Dr. Cutler really emphasizes proper digestion for stabilizing blood sugar. She discusses insulin resistance and how it could be triggered or worsened by things like high-carb diets, poor digestion, skipping meals, stress, and, yes, low enzyme activity.
So enzyme therapy is part of her approach for metabolic syndrome or insulin resistance.
Yes, along with lifestyle changes, it's key. She shares a case of Nancy, who had food sensitivities and high blood sugar, improving with multiple enzyme formulas and diet shifts. She also notes how sugar addiction can severely impact health, and suggests carbohydrate digestive enzymes can help manage sugar digestion.
Are there other supportive supplements mentioned for blood sugar?
Quite a few. Chromium, cinnamon, gymnema, pantothenic acid, alpha-lipoic acid, certain B vitamins. Essential fatty acids are mentioned again for improving insulin sensitivity. And she highlights dietary changes like limiting refined carbs and sugars. Exercise is crucial too.
Okay, let's circle back to inflammation more broadly. It seems to come up a lot.
It really does. Dr. Cutler proposes that chronic inflammation often involves an enzyme deficiency, which impairs the breakdown of those CICs. Enzymes help facilitate a normal immune response, preventing it from going haywire and attacking healthy tissue, like in autoimmune conditions.
So this applies to things like rheumatoid arthritis.
Yes, RA is autoimmune. She suggests enzyme therapy can help break down CICs, improve digestion and detox, and address food sensitivities, which often play a role. She mentions specific enzymes like protease, bromelain, papain, and other joint-supportive nutrients. There's a case study of Lucy with RA improving.
And IBD, like colitis and Crohn's.
Again, she sees poor digestion and food sensitivities as major contributors. Enzyme therapy, in her view, can help reverse these. She details John's case with colitis improving significantly, but also relapsing when he strayed from his diet and enzyme plan, highlighting the importance of consistency.
What about inflammation from just, like, an injury?
Inflammation is a natural part of healing, but enzymes can support the process, potentially managing excessive inflammation or speeding recovery. She also notes enzymes and antioxidants can help combat muscle damage and inflammation after intense exercise. She really positions enzyme therapy as a safer alternative to NSAIDs for many types of inflammation and pain.
The section on cancer was quite striking, referencing historical work too.
Yes, Dr. Beard's early work with proteolytic enzymes. Then Dr. Wolf and Dr. Ransberger pioneering systemic enzyme therapy. Dr. Cutler discusses research, like Dr. Rubo's, suggesting oral systemic enzymes might disrupt cancer processes.
Is it proposed as a standalone treatment?
No, more as a complementary therapy alongside conventional treatments like chemo and radiation. The idea is enzymes might help bolster immune function, possibly reduce side effects, maybe even have some pain-relieving effects.
And potentially help prevent recurrence.
That's another potential role, discussed addressing residual cells, metastasis risk. Systemic enzymes and antioxidants could also help mitigate some of the free radical damage from treatments. It's about supporting the body's own healing capacity.
Any specific examples?
Research on colon cancer and systemic enzymes is mentioned. Also, lymphedema after breast cancer treatment. She shares Eleanor's story of finding relief with specific enzyme formulas. Her general recommendation often includes a full-spectrum digestive enzyme plus a systemic protease on an empty stomach for cancer support.
Okay, let's wrap up with anti-aging, a topic many people are interested in.
Right. Dr. Cutler makes the point that it's about biological age, how well your body functions, not just the number of years. And she sees enzymes fighting aging on many fronts.
How so?
Well, first, food sensitivities, often increasing as digestion declines with age, are seen as a major cause of premature aging. Then there's toxicity, and free radical damage enzymes help with detox and provide antioxidant effects.
And stress, that ages us too, right?
Big time. Stress and adrenal fatigue drive aging via cortisol. Enzymes help by ensuring good digestion and nutrient absorption, which supports the adrenals, and by minimizing those inflammatory CICs. Exercise and stress management are also key, of course.
What about hormonal changes like menopause?
Hormonal shifts can be aggravated by food sensitivities, she suggests.
Right.
So a carbohydrate digestive enzyme and dietary adjustments might ease symptoms, maybe even things like premature graying. Rachel's perimenopause story is an example.
And even sexual function.
Often linked to overall health and circulation, especially in older adults. Systemic enzymes that support circulation could potentially help. Jean's experience with improved libido and circulation using a circulatory enzyme is mentioned.
Wow, it really covers a vast territory, from digestion to aging, immunity, mood. It seems enzymes are involved everywhere, according to this work.
It's quite a perspective. Dr. Cutler certainly makes a strong case that they are absolutely fundamental for a long, healthy life, potentially free from many debilitating illnesses.
So for you listening, for the learner, it really prompts you to think about the role these micro miracles might be playing in your own health and well-being.
Definitely. And it leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? Given how foundational enzymes are in so many known processes, what other hidden potentials might they hold? What else could optimizing enzyme function do for our health and longevity that perhaps we're only just starting to scratch the surface of?